Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is your Uncle Steve here talking to you live on a Friday. Unfortunately, I'm working today on the day that the Hawks host the Philadelphia 76ers this evening. Series is tied 1-1. Looking forward to see what kind of atmosphere we're going to have in Atlanta. Now, it was interesting to me. I didn't realize that a lot of the other NBA teams had not opened up their arenas. And I know the Hawks opened State Farm. It looked like there was quite a few people in there against the New York Knicks. But when we were playing the Knicks, I was on vacation. So to sit here and act like I know what the rules were or how many they had. But I know they had more than 10,000 people in there. And they kept it rocking. I was noticing, and I think it was Utah, where it didn't look, I don't know, maybe that was the angle they were showing, but it just looked like I saw quite a few seats. And that could also be today where, folks still are a little pessimistic about possibly going out there. But I'm hyped up. 1-1. Not totally surprised that game 2 ended up the way it did. I truly like the similarities between this game 2 and the game 2 we played in the first round against the New York Knicks. The one thing I did like, Atlanta went down early, but scratched back, clawed back, and eventually took the lead in the second half for a brief second or two. But again, probably all of the energy needed to make those comebacks probably ended up biting them in the end. And the mere fact that Joel Embiid, give him 100% full credit that he is a beast inside. And I don't know, maybe we'll have some disagreement about who should have been the MVP this year. But Embiid showing everyone that he is that guy on the inside. Does that mean we are pretty much done for the series? Absolutely not. I think the Hawks started off cold, and once they start off cold, with a team like that, where all you need to do is feed Embiid, that's pretty much their game. You had Shake Milton, who came in and gave you some good points off the bench, and Tobias Harris, who I said from the beginning was going to be the X factor in this series, because I think he's somebody that can get his own shot. And I'm not saying he's in all-star status, but I think he's somebody that you have to pay attention to on the team. Somebody who is not quite on the level of Embiid, but can do his job. Ben Simmons, to me, and I give him a lot of respect because he is, as far as guards is concerned, somebody who is not afraid to go straight inside. And with his body size and shape and structure, he shouldn't be afraid. But he's such a liability outside that it almost becomes predictable. I guess it's just a matter of, are you going to be the one that stands in his way when he's coming at you at 60 miles per hour, driving straight to the basket? That's what you have to deal with. And he has not yet proved that he's going to hit that clutch free throw. Now, he didn't have to worry about that last game. But, of course, the game against the Wizards, when they pretty much went to the hack-a-shack rule, that kind of helped them to stretch out that lead in that game. What I look for today, I look for a bounce-back game. Trey to, just as long, Trey is going to get his shots. He's going to get his shots. He's going to be able to get his 30 points. I'm not concerned about that. I think what Trey needs to, the only thing I suggest that he do, because he's been doing a great job. If they had an all-star team for the players that are left right now in the playoffs, I think Trey would be starting at point guard for that team of the players that are left now. I'm not talking about name recognition. I'm talking about what they've done in the playoffs so far. Trae Young has by far, to me, been the most dynamic point guard playing, with all due respect to what Chris Paul is doing out in Phoenix. And Kyrie Irving is doing in Brooklyn. I think Trae Young has been a great facilitator. I need Trae to facilitate more. He can probably get his shot and get his points wherever he wants to. I think what we need to start doing is when we get those 10-point leads and we get those 12-point leads, he should be banned from logo shots, 30-foot shots, and things of that nature until you're above 20 points. I think sometimes when you're close enough, and to me, an NBA game these days, 15 to 20 point lead, unless it's 1 minute left, don't mean anything. Because teams go on the run at least once a game. There are rarely any teams that won't make a run, just like the Hawks did, just like the Knicks did against us, just like Philly did against us in game 1. Every NBA team has at least one run in them, just like last night with Utah and the Clippers, where the Clippers made their comeback and actually took the lead late, kind of similar to the Hawks 76ers game. Trae has to make sure we stay in a dominant position. If you're up by 10 plus points with 6-7 minutes left, and I understand the little roll the ball, people didn't understand what was going on, why he kept doing that, and don't realize that the game clock is going, but the 24-second clock doesn't start until he touches it, until it's 2 minutes left in the game. That's why he does that. That's a little bit risky now that Philadelphia is starting to clamp down defensively, so they might not let him do that a whole lot. I want Trae to be able to keep that ball moving around. We have some good shooters who have been playing pretty well. I know Gallinari, he's given us some good points off the bench. He's been very solid. He's had some tough games too, but I like what he's given us, his toughness. He can't move like he used to, but he can still shoot. Bogdanovic is just, I mean, he's that guy for those old school Hawks that remember what Randy Whitman used to be to those Hawks teams. That's what he kind of reminds me of, that guy. And Red Herder, man, Red is doing his thing out there, hitting those outside shots. So I just say keep the ball moving around, and I think eventually you're gonna, at least Philadelphia will realize, you can't check everybody. If you're gonna trap Trae, then make sure that you don't see Collins sitting out there by himself. Collins can hit 3, Herder can hit 3, Bogey can hit 3, Gallinari can hit 3, Solomon Hill can hit 3, and it's not about hitting the 3 sometimes. Clint Capella, that pick and roll going with him, or John Collins. If you pick your poison, if you decide you're going to cut off the head with Trae, make sure everybody else, from Trae's standpoint, make sure you have an eye on where everyone else is. I think if we continue to do that, I think there's no reason we can't win these 2 games here in Atlanta, because I believe if we split these 2 games, I think it's going to be tough, because I think when we go back to Philly, those folks are going to be ready. So take care of your business here. I have a feeling that they will. I know Nate will have the guys ready to go. Heard the bad news about DeAndre Hunter. That is definitely not good news, but at the same time, hey, they've been pretty decent without him as well. So, we're going to have to move on and keep it moving. Keep the shooting well. There's been some good defense being played in these playoffs. Everybody's talking about the Hawks scoring, but their defense has been outstanding. I think the last 2 games, you just look at what they've been doing, from clamping everybody down except Embiid. And Capella is holding his own, don't get me wrong, but I think you have to be smart with somebody like Embiid. You don't want to get 6 fouls on him real quick and get out of the game. That's why the rookie has come in there and done a pretty good job swallowing up some fouls. Gallinari swallowing up a couple of fouls. Right now, Embiid is in another world, so no shame on anybody else. I look for the Hawks to win tonight. I don't think it's going to be easy. I think Philadelphia got some momentum from that last game, but I just look at the atmosphere and look at it. The Hawks are playing with house money, man. Total house money. There were people that didn't think the Hawks would make the playoffs this year, and even if they thought they made the playoffs, they'd be an easy first round out. And were people that actually thought the Knicks were going to sweep the Hawks. So you right now, as far as the teams left in the playoffs in the East, when you talk about the Bucks, Brooklyn, and Philly, those three teams have been battling for the first spot all year. The Atlanta Hawks are playing with straight house money. Nobody is expecting them to do anything. In the West, it's a little bit different because Phoenix, after the great regular season, have big expectations. Utah, who ended up with the best record in the NBA. And you talk about the Clippers have pressure on them just because Kawhi and Paul George are holding up salaries down there in LA. And I'm leaving out the team that quick. Denver, after last year, they might be playing with a little bit of house money because Jamal Murray is out, but they do have the reigning MVP on their team, so there are no excuses from that. So when you look at the 8 teams left, the Atlanta Hawks are the team that you look at and you just say, hey man, play loose. Nobody expected y'all to be there anyway. I still think the Hawks are 1 year away from being great and probably a player away from being really great. We'll talk about the off-season stuff after the year is done, but for right now, just play loose, man. Play loose. There's no reason you can't beat this Philly team. That you were in game one, you dominated game one, and showed that you can come back in game 2. So let's make this game. Let's start fast. Either keep it close or get you a nice lead and hold it. Don't get behind too far with these guys. Don't give them any momentum and keep it going. But we need the Hawks to come on through so we can get some winning going in this town. And I know the Braves have just been so up, down, 2 heartbreaking walk-off wins for Philadelphia the last couple of days. And then, of course, the Falcons, who are still mourning the loss of their all-time great wide receiver, Julio Jones, who took off to Tennessee. The Hawks right now are probably the most positive game in town. So let's see what they come up with tonight, Friday night. Let's see what they do. Hope they take this thing home and bring it on back, man. Go Hawks. All right, this your Sitting here talking to y'all. I'll holler at y'all later on. Peace.